Hey, what's going on, Black people? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. I'm very happy to see you again. Man, we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going down. Namely, most importantly, this thing with Kanye West and his meeting with Donald Trump. A lot of people have been asking me about this, and so I decided that I would process it and think about it for a while. And as you know, I'm not sort of like that mainstream Negro, nor am I seeking to kind of give you a mainstream opinion, nor am I looking to give you an opinion that you're comfortable with. My goal is to give you what I think to be the truth. And if you want to know my position, definitely when it comes to this Democrat Republican thing, I am a guy who says Black people come first. When Trump says it, like how Trump says America first, well, I say Black people first. And I don't think Black people are being put first by anybody right now, especially when you have these political conversations and everything else. Now, it's funny you fuck Ti. He's being paid by the Democrats. I didn't know Ti was being paid by the Democrats or not. I saw your comment in there, man. But that part I don't know. That part I don't know. All I know is that I was it was Kanye's little meeting with Trump was partly brought to my attention. I follow Ti, who's my favorite rapper, by the way. I love Ti. I think he's a brilliant guy, and I love the fact that he's an activist for the community. I follow Ti, and I saw where there was this whole conversation about Trump, and this conversation about his meeting with Kanye, and apparently Ti did not approve of that meeting, and he felt that it was, I guess counterproductive or something like that. I have no idea, but I know that that there was just a lot of discussion about it, and we were traveling. We're actually on our way to China, and the missus, if you want to call it that, one day she will be. The Queen basically pointed it out to me, and she said, you may want to talk about this thing with Kanye, this meeting with Trump and Kanye. And I said, really, what happened? And that's when I looked and I saw, Kanye's very interesting little soliloquy he gave in the White House. I'll tell you, very few people can kind of out talk Donald Trump and leave Donald Trump speechless. So that part was like, it was hilarious to me to see him talk so long that he sort of outstaged Donald Trump. But also at the same time, with Kanye, there's a lot of complex emotions, right? I see him. Kanye is a guy who doesn't allow himself to really be put in a box. Like you can't really put him in a box as sort of like, okay, he's an activist, or he's just a shallow celebrity, or he's an intellect, or he's a crazy man, or he's just a great rapper. Kanye's kind of all over the place. Kanye, I guess that's how he makes himself iconic, or iconiaic. I don't know. He makes himself iconic by basically sort of doing what his heart desires and being who he wants to be. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. A lot of it does look a little crazy to me. I see him as a person that has made me wonder on multiple occasions if there was a mental illness thing going on, if there's a mental health issue, and he's been diagnosed as bipolar before, so it's not like this is out of the question. Now, before I dig into the conversation and the analysis, I want to ask you guys to do me a favor. Wherever platform you're on, please hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, on Instagram, I'm at the Real Boyce Watkins, and also on Twitter, you can go to Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. That's Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So hit me up on the different social media platforms, and if you want to follow me via text message, you can actually text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. So let me go ahead and give you a conversation about Kanye and Trump and Ti and all of this. I meshed it around in my brain and kind of stirred it up and kind of said, okay, what am I thinking? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? And because all these brothers, with Ti and Kanye, I've been following these guys for a long time, and I think that we know of each other indirectly. I know Kanye's went to visit Farrakhan, who lives not too far from me, and I think Kanye's mentioned me a couple times. And Ti, I know that we know a lot of the same people, and so I want to make sure it's sort of stated in a way that leans totally on truth. Truth means that I got to just tell you how I see it without it being biased by who my friends are and stuff like that. And what I can say, here's the first thing I'll say. Here's the thing I'll say about Kanye. Kanye is a little bit of a narcissist. I see narcissism with Kanye in terms of, anybody that I see who can kind of go on these endless rants all about themselves, and these rants that don't make any sense. And it's all about them, and they're not worried about what other people are seeing. I see that with Kanye, and I see that with Trump. So in that regard, personality-wise, they're kind of two peas in a pie. They're both entertainers. They're both bombastic. They both kind of speak. Sometimes it looks like they speak before they think. Um, and they kind of believe that they almost have a God complex, right? That's what I see. I see God complex coming out when Trump speaks. I see that with Kanye, and I've seen that with some other people in entertainment who I won't name, it kind of disturbs me when I see it. And at the very least, that's why when you ask me about, how do I feel about Donald Trump as president, that's where I stop. That's where I say no, he should be president, because you don't want a bipolar narcissist to have access to nuclear weapons. That is not good for anybody. Now, here's the part that I think is happening also, in terms of what we're doing. I read the comments very carefully. I read what T.I. said. I love Sean King. I read what Sean King had to say. I read what Kanye had to say. And then I saw what everybody else was saying. And the problem I have with all of this is that nobody's really listening to Kanye West in detail. Nobody's really listening to exactly what he's saying. And literally, I encourage anybody who likes to think, this is only for the thinkers, this is only for the intelligent Black people in the room. Look at every sentence that comes out and kind of shove away the bullshit, the garbage, the crazy stuff, like, where he's promoting his album or promoting his company, or he's talking about something crazy, and focus on the issues that actually matter, for Black folks. Like, if you really do that, you would actually find some things in his words that Black people need to hear, not things that Black people need to agree with, because we're not monolithic. But here's where Kanye benefits the Black community. Kanye is pushing that notion that we are all the same. Kanye is challenging this idea that being Black means you have to be a Democrat. So if, to my brother T.I., if T.I. was to say, Kanye's a coon for standing next to Trump, I would say, well, we got a lot of coons sitting right next to Hillary Clinton. We got a lot of coons sitting right next to the Democratic Party. We got a lot of coons who are out here getting money to get Black folks to go out and vote for politicians. As y'all know without a question, don't give a ant's fuck about Black people. Y'all know that these politicians, Hillary Clinton sent more Black men to prison than any president in the history of this country. Hillary and Bill together. They were Bonnie and Clyde. They worked together for the mass extermination of Black people. They did something to Black people that could not have been emulated by Adolf Hitler. It was worse than what Hitler did to the Jews, because he only got 6 million. He only had about 7 or 8 years to do it. They did this shit in a way that literally wiped out an entire generation. You got little kids out here right now. Chicago is the epicenter of this. That's why Kanye says the things he says the way he says it. You got little kids out here right now that have never known what it's like to receive the love of a parent, because Hillary and Bill signed a law that gave their daddy a 400-year sentence back in 1992. So if you are going to tell me, if you are going to say to me that Kanye is a coon for standing next to Trump, then your ass is a coon for sitting next to these goddamn Democrats. Excuse my French. I'm going to stop cussing. I swear. I'm going to quit. Seriously. So it's cross the board cooning. It's cross the board cooning. You can't throw rocks when your house is made of glass, ass. Seriously, at the end of the day, you in a glass house, stop throwing rocks. Just stop it. So what I'm gonna say, and I'm really, and this is not a direct slight towards Sean King or T.I. These are guys that I love. I respect what they do. I like the fact that they put out this energy to try to do these things for the world and for the community. I think that they're good people. But we got to stop thinking that every Negro needs to line up in lockstep as little Sambo soldiers for the Democratic Party. Seriously, we need to let that shit go. So if you come to me and you say, look, I don't like what Kanye's doing because I don't like Trump, but I don't like these Democrats either, then I can respect that. But if you are a person who's criticizing Kanye for standing next to Trump, but you're sitting right next to the Democrats, I can't respect that either. I'm looking at you like what's your alternative, man? What you got for us, partner? You ain't really got nothing in place that's really going to elevate Black people, because we know that that's the case. Here's the thing. Here's where Kanye, pay attention. Kanye brought this up. I'm gonna play a clip of what Kanye said, because we need to listen to what this man said instead of just reacting like, oh my God, the nerve of you sitting down with Trump. Ain't no wrong with sitting down with Trump. Ain't nothing wrong with sitting down and having a meeting with Trump. You should meet with every president In fact, Trump, you could probably get more out of Trump than you could get out of Obama. And let me tell you why. Trump is dying to somehow do something and put some money into something that is going to make him look better to black people. So Trump needs black people to like him so he can get enough votes to get reelected. Obama knew he didn't need y'all's asses. Obama, do you know how hard it was for us to negotiate with the Obama administration back when Russell Simmons and I wrote that letter to ask the administration to address the mass incarceration crisis? Do you know how hard it was? Do you know how they ignored us? They bringing in gay people into the White House, Native Americans getting up billions of dollars. They bringing in Latinos, trying to get the immigrant babies into the country illegally and shit. And they won't even sit down and talk to an African American. They ignored African Americans. You know why? Because they were like, we got them in our pocket. What do we need them for? We don't need to do anything for black people. So my thing on this is that when Kanye says, you know, that 8 years, Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing changed in Chicago, he's right. And that is a perfect point. Obama lives right there in Chicago, in the heart of the South Side, And your ass doing more for gay people who live across the country and immigrant kids across the world than you doing for your own people who love you more than anybody. So, you know, so let me play Kanye's clip. I'm gonna pull this up. While I pull this up, do this. If you wanna, just so you know, to help us fund better projects, we actually opened up a Patreon account for the channel. It's at intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. So one of the perks of being a Patreon is that we're going to invite you to the IRS. IRS stands for Intelligent Rap Sessions. So these are private conversations where I'll bring you into a private session where we'll talk back and forth in a small group setting about various issues. So if you want to be a patron of the Dr. Boyce YouTube channel, which, as you know, we do things different from everybody else. We're not trying to be like mainstream media. Feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. So let me play Kanye's rant right quick so we can kind of hear this. While I do this, hit the share button, subscribe button, and all that stuff. And we're going to analyze. We're going to go through what he said. We're not just going to write off, you know, what he said just because he's sitting down with Trump. You don't do that. You don't do that. The Democrats are encouraging you to do that so that you don't engage in critical thinking. They don't want black people engaged in critical thinking because they're used to you being just religious and spiritual and emotional and not sitting there and playing chess. They got your ass playing checkers and hopscotch up in this bitch, and your ass need to be playing chess because they are playing you and screwing you every time, every chance they get. So anyway, let me move in. And this ain't got nothing to do with whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Now, make sure I'm clear about that. I don't care who you vote for. You know why I don't care who you vote for? Because the shit don't matter. So the shit does not matter. It really doesn't. When it comes to the goals that I have for black people, building our own schools, educating our own kids, creating our own businesses, supporting black businesses, ain't no Democrats or Republicans helping with none of that. None of that. So I don't care who you vote for. So the same way Trump has his America First policy, you might as well call me Boyce Trump because my policy is black people first. I am black people first, period. So I don't care who you voted for. You telling me who you voted for is like you telling me what color pants you wore this morning. I don't give a shit. I don't care what you wear. I don't care if you wore long pants, shorts, t-shirt, overalls. I don't give a fuck what you wore today. That has nothing to do with what matters. So I need you to understand this. Vote if you want to, stay home if you want to, but at the end of the day, who you vote for and whether you vote does not matter to me. I'm not going to say anything to you about that. So anyway, let's play Kanye's rant. It's kind of long. He got a lot to say, but we're going to go ahead and hear the brother out because I want you guys, and I'm gonna pause it at points where there's a point to be made about his commentary. And this is something that you're not going to see anywhere in media because they don't want black people critically thinking. CNN doesn't want you engaged in critical thought. You know, the MSNBC doesn't want you engaged in critical thought. So what they're going to do is they're going to kind of override, just sort of ramble, go through the rant real quick. Like, here he is just ranting. He's just yelling. He's just ranting. Well, what is he ranting about? What is he saying? Let me hear what this man has to say. So let's play it. Here we go. Now, again, this is all said with full knowledge that we know Kanye a little crazy. So let's not forget that part either. All right, so here we go. I got the video right here. I'm gonna play this video, and I want us to listen to what he had to say. Pay attention.
Black, you have to be Democrat. I have
okay. First thing he said, you probably didn't catch that, but he said there's a false belief that if you're black, you have to be a Democrat. You catch that? That's the first thing that he said. That's the first gem he dropped. That if you're black, you have to be a Democrat. We must let that go. Being black is not the same as being Democrat. That's not good for the community. You're not going to win that way. Let's keep going.
I've had conversations that basically said that welfare is the reason why a lot of black people end up being Democrat. They say, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs. So the fathers lose the jobs and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids in your home. And then we got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s.
Now let's pause it right there. What did he say about the welfare stuff? The Democrats want you on welfare because that will keep you dependent upon them. That's why Democrats don't like people like me, because I look them straight in the eye and I say, black people, we are just as smart as you. We're just as strong as you. We're just as capable as you. If you can run the institution, so can we. If you can build it, so can we. We don't want you to give us a job. We maybe want a loan so we can go build a corporation, but really we barely even need that part. But if you really want our support, then help us figure out how we can build these businesses and create our own jobs and develop Africa Town or African American Town or whatever, Black Town, whatever you want to call it, the same way you're supporting Chinatown and in the area where the Latinos live and everything else. We want our own stuff. And welfare, the welfare state, the creation and the support and the maintenance of the welfare state has been one of the most destructive forces in the history of this country. That has been the thing that has harmed more black people and more black families than damn near anything else. Doesn't mean welfare isn't helpful. Doesn't mean welfare can't be a step up. My mother was a 17-year-old single mom when she gave birth to me. We were on welfare. We lived in the projects. So we needed that money. She needed that Similac to feed little baby boys. But I will tell you this, she didn't want to stay there. And she is adamant about the fact that if it had been easy for her to stay there, it would have been difficult to gain the motivation to improve her situation. So the welfare state, especially the way they want to keep the fathers out of the home, is also deeply reflective and connected to the fact that the liberals in general have a very anti-male agenda as it stands right now. The Me Too movement is one of the most persecutorial and harmful anti-male agendas that I've ever seen in my life. The only men who get by in the Me Too movement are the gay men. The straight heterosexual men are pretty much defined to be sexual predators until proven otherwise. The idea that a feminist can accuse you of a crime with no evidence whatsoever and get you sent to prison for the next 50 years should scare the living shit out of anybody who has a black male in their household, because black men are going to get it the worst. So Kanye makes a point later on, he's going to talk about this in a second, where he was talking about how Hillary's campaign, I'm with her, and the Democratic agenda, the liberal agenda is very feminine. He didn't feel like he had a place as a man. And I said, I actually relate to that, because as a man, I am literally afraid of the Democrat liberal agenda, because I know a lot of my brothers are going to get sent away to prison, and they're not going to care when your little son gets sent away to prison because a white girl accused him of rape on a college campus. He gets sent away to prison and is getting raped every single day for the next 20 years. They will not care about that. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me play more Kanye's clip so we can kind of keep talking about it. Here we go.
90s, and the prison rates just shot up, and now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20% every year. I just talked to the superintendent, met with Michael Sachs, that's Rom's right-hand man. So I think it's the bravery that helps you beat this game called life. They tried to scare me to not wear this hat, my own friends, but this hat, it gives me power in a way. My dad and my mom separated, so I didn't have a lot of male energy in my home. And also, I'm married to a family that, not a lot of male energy going on. It's beautiful, though. But there's times where, it's something about, I love Hillary. I love everyone, right? But the campaign, I'm with her, just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could play catch with his son. It was something about when I put this hat on, it made me feel like Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. And you made a...
Now, okay, so what he's talking about here, this whole part about the hat making you feel like Superman, I don't get that. I don't know why a MAGA hat would make you feel like Superman. You know, wearing a Black Power hat would make me feel like Superman, but to each his own. I thought that was the weird Kanye talking, but the rational, intelligent Kanye, his point about the feminine energy within the Democrat liberal establishment is very, very real. There's very little space in the Democratic Party right now for men of any background, and black men are pretty much labeled as super predators. Just like Hillary Clinton said 20 years ago, we're seen as super predators. That's why you got guys like Quintez Cephas up at the University of Wisconsin, who's facing a rape charge after two white girls invited him in for a threesome and then claimed that he raped them after they got high and drunk, when really all the evidence shows that that did not happen. So ultimately, I think that he's making a good point with that. I think that and that's his preference, right? The idea that people tried to scare him, like he said, people tried to scare me to not wear this hat or scare me to not support Trump. That's a problem. That's a real problem. Why would you intimidate someone? I mean, seriously, if you really believe in black people having freedom, right? If you really believe that black people should be free, why would you try to intimidate a black person who's trying to exercise their freedom, right? So ultimately, what I think that that we got to sort of understand is that the Democratic Party, they're not your supporters. They are your motherfucking pimps. They are your pimps. They are not your supporters. They are not your partners. They are not your backers. They are not the people that are going to give you anything that elevates you to where you want to get to. They are your pimps. So when a black person steps out and says, I don't really want to do this, I want to do something different, they come, they're like, ho, where are you going, bitch? Your bitch chose me. Get back here, ho. Right? These are our people. We own these people, right? And I think that if you're going to give Kanye credit for anything, give him credit for not letting anybody own him. Again, this is all said with the understanding that who you vote for really doesn't matter when it comes to achieving the goals that we have as a community. There's nothing in the Democratic agenda right now that will help you to achieve the goals that I've mentioned to you when it comes to black people. I told you, we always talk about the black core of three, right? Educate our own kids, create our own jobs, support black businesses. Show me any parts of the Democratic agenda that are the prominent parts of the agenda that relate to any of those three things. They don't want you educating your own kids, by creating our own schools and our own school systems. They want you to sit here and believe in this horrible public school, which ain't nothing but a prison on training wheels, that's sending out droves and droves, hundreds of thousands of black kids that can't even read. A school to prison pipeline that they refuse to deal with. They would rather support the teachers' labor union than to support the actual children. So they don't care. They don't care anything about you educating your own kids. They're never going to help you do that. Creating your own jobs. They don't want. Why would they want you to create your own jobs? Because then they would lose their employees. They want you to come work for them. They're like, hey, come work for me, nigga. I can take care of you, nigga. I can make sure that I can protect you from the Republicans. It's like a gangster. A gangster does that, right? When the mafia does a shakedown, they go to the store owners who don't have any protection, who are very vulnerable, and they basically say to them, they say, look, pay us for protection. We'll protect you from the other gangs. We'll keep you from getting robbed. And then if you don't pay the protection, then they'll come and they'll actually rob you. They'll be the ones who jack you, right? So the Democratic Party does the same thing. They come to your church, and first thing they do when they come to your church, pay attention. Listen to the radio ads that the Democrats start running every time it's time to get an election. They ignore you for 3-4 years straight. Then they show up when it's time to get your vote, almost like a horny frat boy on a Friday night trying to get a piece of ass. That's what they do. Suddenly the guy that's like calling you out of the blue and you ain't heard from him in like 4 weeks, right? So that's what they do. They're showing up, trying to get your vote. First thing they do is they fear monger. First thing they do is they don't tell you anything about what they've done for the black community that's anything of substance. Everything they give you that they've done is usually symbolism. It's like, well, we named this street after Rosa Parks. We had so and so to the White House and they had a concert, right? It's very symbolic stuff. But typically they won't even do that. What they'll usually do is do what actually works, which is they will tell you how horrible the Republicans are and how racist they are and everything else. One thing Kanye brought up that I really loved was he said that I'm not going to let you control me by making me fear racism. He said, I'm not going to let you control me with that. And I actually agreed with that. I said, that's a good point, because you know what? Here's the thing about life that we never learn because we're not trained to be competitive. Black people are trained to be passive and dependent. We never learn that usually when you're in a competition, the other side never likes you. Asian people say horrible things about Latinos. Latinos say horrible things about Jews. Jews say horrible things about everybody else, whatever it is. They might say horrible things about Arabs. Arabs say horrible things about Nigerians, whatever. Not everybody knows, everybody got some. You probably say horrible things about white people all the time. Raise your hand if you've ever sat around a table with your black friends and been like, them damn crackers, or that damn crazy ass white woman, or you got those white people next door. You need to stay away from those white people, right? Now, I need to ask you this. Now pay attention now. Pay attention. We are trained, we are triggered, we are trained to overreact and spend our whole lives reacting to what white people say about us. We look, oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't say that about us, right? We're trained to do that. Now, I need you to ask this, reverse it. You sitting around the coffee table every night talking all kinds of shit about white people. I know y'all. I've been at some of y'all coffee tables. Now, ask yourself this. Do you think that they're spending 1 second worried about what you said about them? Do you think that they're spending 1 second concerned about anything that you have to say about them? Do you think that you could ruin their whole day, throw off their whole life, distract them, put them in an insane asylum, drive them crazy, and cause them to fall off their mission by calling them a cracker? If you walked up to a white man, a wealthy white man who owned you, who owned your job, owned the company, and you said, you's a dirty cracker, do you think that he's going to cry and say, my self-esteem was ruined and it was so terrible? I feel like I'm not wanted here. White lives matter. Ah. No, he's not going to do that. He's probably going to laugh at you because he's going to be like, I don't really care, right? And then if you have something that he needs, he'll still probably do business with you too, right? And that's how people do business in a competitive environment. You know that the people that you're competing with probably say shit about you when you're not around that you're never going to hear, stuff that's probably unflattering. But the difference is that if they respect you, if they know that you have power, they ain't gonna say that shit to your face. So seriously, I've been a boss. I've had people work for me. I know I can have a meeting with somebody and I know that after this meeting, after I've checked your ass, after I said something to you, like, no, we're not doing it like this anymore. No, we're not, this ain't gonna happen. I know that as soon as I walk away, you're gonna say all kinds of shit, but you better mumble when you say it. You better say it when I'm not around, right? Because at the end of the day, I've got power, and that's what matters. What matters is power. That's why powernomics is so important, things like that. You got to understand power. The Democrats are not designed to give you power. Again, I'm not holding it against you if you're a Democrat. I'm not holding it against you if you're a Republican. I want to ask you this, though. The more important question is, do you put black people first? Or do you put your party affiliation first? Which labels do you matter to you the most? Did they, if they gave you an LGBT label, do you put that first or do you put your blackness first? If they gave you an immigrant label, do you put that first or do you put your blackness first? A lot of black immigrants don't like black people. A lot of black immigrants do not like African Americans. The movie Black Panther was a perfect example of the difference in thinking and the perspective between Africans and African Americans. That many of them look at you as motherless little bastards. That's how they see you. They see you as little terrible people who have gone through some shit, but you are a terror to the rest of the world. That's how people see you. Just being real. They come to America and the first thing they're told is stay away from those people over there. If you have another label, if your label is feminist, if you believe in equality for women, which is very, very important, we all agree on that. Which comes first, your label as a feminist or your love for the black community? That's what matters. Are you black first? If you're black first, then I can understand you. If you're not black first, then that means you've been pretty much hijacked and kidnapped and sort of sucked into a fight that really doesn't belong to you. A fight where you're not a true stakeholder in any of that. A fight where they really truly don't care much about what happens to your family. They don't care. I'll ask you this question as well. This is a really hard question to answer, but I need you to answer this question for me. Can you love the black community and also support Donald Trump? Can you? Is that possible? Is it possible that there are black people out here who say, yeah, I don't like Obama, but I don't like Hillary, but I voted for Trump, but I'm a black person, I love black people? Is that possible? Is it possible for you to say, I love black people, but I'm a Republican? Is it possible for you to say, I love black people, but I happen to be conservative? If yes, I agree with you. If no, then why not? Why is it not possible? Because the truth is, black people are actually very conservative as a community. We got sucked into the liberal stuff and all the baggage that came with it because the liberals were the only ones who didn't treat us like shit. They were the only ones who wouldn't lynch us as fast as the conservatives did. But believe me, a lot of the people that are predecessors to the Democratic Party, they did lynch black people. Go look at your history books. When black people came north from the plantations, there were black people being lynched and murdered and killed in the northern states. Why? Well, because they were trying to compete with them for jobs. So the word competition is the key, the operative term here. That's the operative term. When you start competing, none of them like your ass. None of them like your ass. So what do? They want you to remain uncompetitive. That's Democrat and conservative ideology. The conservatives just want to compete with you. They just want to beat you. They just want to take what you got, and they want to get ahead of you. They want to be smarter than you. They want to have more resources than you. That's just a fight. You just gonna have to have that fight. You're gonna have to fight it out. Like some of y'all are beating the conservatives because you got your kids going to school, studying hard, learning how to run businesses, learning how to hustle, learning how to compete. So some of your children are going to do just fine. Many of you are doing just fine because you're hustlers. You know how to compete. The liberals are a little different. The liberals kind of coax you in. They kind of suck you in and kind of say, they present themselves as an ally, and then they slowly subjugate you to the back of the bus. They slowly but surely ensure that you kind of, like, it's like, okay, we're teammates, but I need you to sit in the back, and I don't really need you competing with me, because we have to understand this is a hierarchy. We're a family. I'm the big brother. You're the little brother. We're the leaders. You're the followers. We are at the front of the bus. You're at the back of the bus. That's what you're getting with the liberals. It's a very subtle kind of racism that's a little different from the blatant fight that you have with the conservatives. And what I'm trying to tell you is something that you probably never heard before, maybe haven't heard that much, is to let that racism part go, because it's not that important. It only matters when you're talking about broad systemic issues, maybe in the criminal justice system. Yeah, it has to be addressed. But the idea that you should get upset because Donald Trump said, he doesn't like Colin Kaepernick or the NFL players, I don't care about that part. That part doesn't matter to me that much. I don't really care. He just disagrees with me. Or the idea that you're upset because somehow you've been convinced by the liberals that because Donald Trump doesn't want little Paco from El Salvador and his mama to sneak across the border, that's somehow racism. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not an illegal immigrant. Most African Americans I know are not trying to get across the Rio Grande to break into the country. Most African Americans I know do not benefit when illegal immigration or illegal immigrants come into the country. Most African Americans I know are not winning. Immigration, if you listen to people like Dr. Claude Anderson, he will explain to you that immigration was used as a policy to water down the influence of African American people. Immigration was used as a way to flood the country with so many Hispanics that your vote's not going to count. If you believe in reciprocity, then you will say, okay, well, we'll do for y'all, but y'all need to do for us. But I need you to point to me, show me any coalitions of people from south of the border who are really down for black people, who are really with you when you fight for reparations, who are really out there with you when you're dealing with the wealth gap and dealing with the unemployment gap and dealing with all of that. They're not standing with you. And the reason they're not standing with you is because they're competing. They're competing for resources like every normal person should do. So black people, we lose because we do not compete. Before I move on, do this. Make sure you hit the share button, subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, take 1 second, please. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this conversation with other people. And I'm actually going to talk about what T.I. said, because T.I. is my favorite rapper. And I want to sort of flesh through some of what he said. I'm going to play a little bit more of what Kanye said as well. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel as a Patreon, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's where we have our IRS, which is intelligent rap sessions. We got private conversations about big issues where you talk to me, I talk to you, and stuff like that. That's one of the many things you can get. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. And also, if you want to connect with me via text message, you can text the word voice to 31996. Text voice to 31996. Now, here's what T.I. said. T.I. said, he said, now, I've been extremely patient and made it a point to not jump into any premature conclusions about Ye and his antics, partially due to the lessons learned from the outcome of other similar situations dealing with my brother Wayne, talking about Lil Wayne. And he did a good job of dealing with Lil Wayne. I actually respected what he said. He said, which I admittedly mishandled a bit in hindsight, but now this shit is next level, futuristic, Sambo hopping, Bob Stephen off Django ass shit. From what I can gather, this is the most repulsive, disgraceful, embarrassing act of desperation and auctioning off one's soul to gain power that I've ever seen. Now, I recall you asking me to come with you to have this meeting, and I declined naturally. But bro, if it ain't time, I would have been there in there with you and you behaved that spinelessly in my presence. I'd feel like I'd be compelled to slap the fuck out of you, bro, for the people. Yo ass kissing and bootlicking on a whole new level. And I refuse to associate myself with something so vile, weak, inconsiderate to the effect that it has on the greater good of all of our people. I'm a true believer and it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. And this shit is regurgitating. At one time, it was a pleasure to work alongside you. Now I'm ashamed to have ever been associated with you. To all the people who follow Ye musically, socially, or even personally, who are confused, heartbroken, infuriated, let me make this clear. This shit ain't cool. This is a move Ye made for Ye. This is a play to put him in a position he'd like to see himself in. We are not on his mind as he makes these comments and decisions. Don't follow this puppet. There's more that he says, but let me just say this too. I think that what T.I. has to be careful about is that if you're too aligned with the Democratic Party, then you also, brother, end up looking like a puppet. I'm not saying you are a puppet, but the truth of the matter is that, you know, when they are causing civil wars, when they're, you know, when they're doing this divide and conquer, where they're taking black people and saying, you know, almost like a football team, we're gonna put 10 Negroes on this side, 10 Negroes on that side. You ain't doing nothing but having the plantation slave fights, where basically for white people's entertainment and white people's benefit, economically and otherwise, you got black people trying to go at each other, right? So you're going at him for what? Like, what is it that you're going at him for? Are you going at him because he's sitting next to Trump? Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you like this. I would probably end up going at a lot of people, and T.I. included, for sitting next to Obama. Not because I think Obama is inherently a bad person, but because actually Obama is a very intelligent man. Obama understood that because black people are so primitive in our political thinking, we are the people that will do everything for you and ask for nothing in return. So if a T.I. was sitting next to Barack Obama, I would probably say, okay, what are y'all actually getting done other than making this a photo op? If you're making this a photo op, then there's nothing to see here. There's nothing happening here that's going to benefit anybody, right? But if you are putting pressure on him to say, look, if you want to take a, oh shoot, sorry, you know, so if you like, if you're putting pressure on him and saying, look, if you want to take this picture with me, then you have to do X, Y, Z for the people. I can respect that, and I think that that's the issue. I think that across the board, we don't have black people and black prominent people who have backbone when it comes to dealing with all of these politicians, right? And the way you deal with the Republicans must be the same way you deal with the liberals, because none of them are your friends. So what I'm seeing right now, unfortunately, I don't even know if T.I. is involved in this. I know people, some people on Instagram are claiming that T.I. is part of, you know, these get out the vote campaigns that the Democrats love to run to get black people to support them for no reason. And I'm not gonna say that, you know, that T.I. Let me see if I'm reconnect. I lost you guys on Instagram. I don't know if T.I. is connected to any of that. I don't know where T.I. sits in all of that. I know I follow him and I respect him, and I think that what he does is good for the world. But I really kind of want him and others to really play chess and not checkers, and to just understand that no matter who you're sitting with, if they're doing nothing for you, then nothing is being gained from that interaction. That is not a healthy meeting. You know, so anyway, let me keep going. So he basically says, because as long as I've lived, I've learned that it benefits a man nothing at all to gain the world if he must lose his soul. Okay, so you're talking about soul. You're talking about something that's almost like an emotional way of kind of looking at this. Like, how dare you sit next to him? This is, you know, this ain't cool. This is, you're giving up your pride and your dignity. And I can understand that. I used to think that way too. I used to think that, you know, that pride issue kind of mattered. And I do have pride, but I think that, you know, perhaps another way we should look at this is to go deeper than just making it about ego and about pride, and instead making it about results, right? So here's the thing. You had a whole string of Negroes running up in there meeting with Obama for 8 straight years. I mean, I'm talking about they could have had a Negro parade with all the damn celebrities they had going up into the White House taking pictures with Obama. I mean, I'm talking about a parade. Now, I need you to tell me about any situations where, please tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me about any situations where they came out of these meetings and said, I sat with the president, I demanded that he deal with the unemployment issue, And we got him to sign legislation that is going to deal with this issue on Black unemployment. Or we sat and we talked about incarceration because it doesn't make any sense that so many African Americans are being locked away for no reason. And we made a deal on that. Now, a guy like a Farrakhan, I believe, would have got that done. I think that Obama probably would have had a hard time just getting a photo op meeting with a Farrakhan. But most of these celebrities just wanted to be seen in a picture with Obama because they thought that shit was cool. They thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. So what I would say to T.I. is not so much that he's wrong to have his feelings about Kanye West. I want to challenge and say, what should he have been doing and what would have benefited the community the most? Okay, so you're saying, okay, Kanye should never have gone to the meeting. Okay, so when the Democrats come around, are you going to skip that meeting too? Or are you going to go to that meeting as if somehow the Democrats are better for you than the Republicans? Because here's the thing. Black people have Black people collectively benefited much under Trump? No, they haven't. But they probably haven't benefited more under Trump than they did under Obama. And that's the problem that you have. That's the problem that you have. So, at the end of the day, I kind of think it's unfortunate. I think that we have people that literally have been convinced to believe that being Black is synonymous with being a Democrat. Now, there's another person who made some comments about it, Sean King. Sean King is kind of a textbook liberal. He's a great guy, though. Love Sean King. Love what Sean King does on the issues of, drawing attention to racism, police brutality. I think that's excellent work. I think Sean should probably do a little bit more in terms of doing things that will clearly empower Black people. Instead of being reactive to things that other people do to us, be proactive in terms of building things so that people can't do those things in the first place. Remember, Dr. Claude Anderson, I love bringing him in because Dr. Claude Anderson actually gives you a plan. Most people don't give you a plan. Most prominent Black people don't give you a plan. All they do is the only plans they'll give you is to vote or to protest. So you spend your whole life voting and it doesn't make a bit of goddamn difference. And you're protesting, which means you standing outside the institution screaming like a little bitch, begging people to care about you when they've shown you for 200 years that they don't give a damn about what happens to you. So you tell me what the plan is. I don't see any plans. So Claude Anderson, what I like about him is Claude Anderson had a proactive plan. Claude Anderson said, look, first you build an economic base, support Black businesses, create your own jobs, and educate your own kids. Then the next step, I think the next step up was you then take the money from the businesses and you buy the politicians. Votes don't mean shit in America. America is not a democracy. Let me make that clear. Let me repeat that to you. Go see Michael Moore's movie, Fahrenheit 11/9, if you don't understand. Voting doesn't mean anything because America is not a democracy. Stop thinking that you live in a democracy. You do not live in a democracy. If you lived in a democracy, how is it that, and I'm looking at different people, and I see my friends on Facebook here and my friends on Instagram. So I'm literally looking you in the eye, talking to you, Christy, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, Zach Shativia and Karen and Nathaniel. I'm talking directly to you right now. If you had a democracy, why is it that the person who gets the most votes doesn't usually get to go to the White House? Like, if you have a democracy, then Hillary Clinton would have been in the White House because she got the most popular, she won the popular vote, right? George Bush got the White House without winning the popular vote, right? What happened was the Electoral College overrode the will of the people and put in who they wanted to put in. So you do not live in a democracy. If you lived in a democracy, then why is it that a corporation that has more money than you can actually have more political influence than you, even though they don't have more votes? Because dollar bills actually do the voting. The dollar bills are what moves the political needle. Why is it that the Asian community doesn't vote at all and they have more power than you? They got nail salons and shit in your neighborhood, taking all your damn money and punching Black women in the face at the same damn time. Don't just ain't giving a fuck, right? Well, because they know how to bring together their power economically, and they use that economic power to control the political process. So Claude Anderson's plan was, he said, build an economic base, buy your politicians. That then affects, you can then affect the judges and the courts and the police. And then I think the next one level up was education. You control the educational system that way by having your own system. Then there was another piece to it. I don't remember the fifth piece. Somebody remind me what the fifth piece was, so I don't say anything stupid. Oh goodness, I can't remember what number 5 was. He's gonna get mad at me for that. But anyway, those are the first 4. So y'all get what I'm saying here. You need a plan. Most activists, unfortunately, do not have a clear plan for true Black empowerment. Most activists have a plan for screaming and hollering and reacting to what white people do. And if you know anything about competition, like if you think about sports, you can't really win in a basketball game if you are constantly reacting to what the other team did. If you're always playing defense and always waiting, 5 is media. How did I forget media? Oh my God, media. That's why I'm talking to y'all the way I'm talking to you now. That's why we have our platform. We reach a million Black people a week. It's because my number one goal in life has been to build media. We need our own media. We need media where we can reach people and give them information that they need to have. So, so media, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Who gave me that? Was that Chris? Chris S. Thank you, man. I'm gonna make you a moderator on my channel for doing that. I appreciate you, man. Because you saved me, or maybe that's a she, because Chris is a cross-gender word, I guess. So the point of the matter is, at the end of the day, we need a plan. Most of the people that will criticize Kanye don't have really any better alternatives. Their solution is, just sit back, be mad, stay away from Trump, don't talk to him, and continue to suffer and continue to react and bitch and scream every time a white person calls you a nigger. I don't really care what a toothless redneck thinks about me as a person. It has no effect on my self-esteem or my self-perception. I personally suggest that you consider letting go of all of that and stop worrying about all of that and focus instead on building. Focus on building. You build by working within your own family. You get them damn babies educated. We got too many of these little kids growing up, can't read and shit. Black kids. Do you know that the average Black male is like in the bottom 20th percentile on math and reading? Actually, average Black child, period, male and female, bottom 20th percentile. You can't compete if your average child is in the bottom 20th percentile. Why aren't we teaching these kids to read when they come home? Why your kids know more about media takeout than they know about anything that's ever been in a book? Why are they spending more time watching BET and all this other nonsense when they're spending doing the things they need to do? Why are they spending more time on the football field than that little boy spending to learn how to start a business, right? So start with your household. That's your empire, and it don't matter who's in the White House. Trump could make himself king and literally be in the White House for the next 80 years. And I guarantee you that if you educate the shit out of your kids, if you teach them how to grind and how to get money and how to build institutions and start businesses and teach them how to have discipline and make smart decisions and support other Black people and work together with their own family members, your family's gonna be fine. Your family will be fine. The only people that won't be fine are the people who are subjected to brainwashing, right? The people who are subjected to brainwashing struggle. Those who aren't, those who can break out of that and think on their own, usually do quite well. All right. So anyway, do this. Follow me on Twitter if you want to. You can go to drboystwitter.com if you want to follow me on Twitter. That's drboystwitter.com. Also, don't forget intelligentblackpeople.com if you want to be a patron of this channel. I am asking you to subscribe because this is something that's different from anything else that you see in media. And also hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button. And let me show you guys, let me bring back Kanye. Let me bring back my friend Kanye, and let's finish what he had to say, because we didn't actually go through the whole text of what he said. He went on for a minute, so about 7-8 minutes. So let's see.
Superman cape for me also as a guy that looks up to you, looks up to Rap Lauren, looks up to American industry guys, non-political, no bullshit, put the beep on it, however you want to do it, 5 seconds delay, and just goes in and gets it done. Right now, you gave me the heart to go to Adidas, because at Adidas, when I went in 2015, we were a $14 billion company losing $2 billion a year. Now we have a $38 billion market cap. It's called the Yeezy effect. And I went to Casper. We had a meeting in Chicago, and I said, you have to bring manufacturing onshore, not even shore, into the core. It's not about the borders, the core of Adidas, and Chicago is the core of Middle America. We have to make Middle America strong. So I had the balls, because I have enough balls to put on this hat. I mean, this Adidas thing made me a billionaire, and I could have lost $200 million walking away from that deal. But even with that, I knew it was more important for me to take the chance of walking away from that deal than to have no fathers in Chicago with no homes. And when we do have prison reprobation, because it's habilitation, not rehabilitation, because we didn't have the abilities in the first place. We never had anyone that taught us. We didn't teach us. Exactly, we had no one that taught us, right?
Okay, let me pause right there. Kanye's a little weird. There ain't nobody questioning that. He's saying things in a weird way. But what I want you to hear is a couple of things what he's saying. He's talking about, having balls and doing business. He's talking about, how he felt in his own experience that hanging out with guys like the Trumps and whoever else made him just realize, like, wait a minute, I can go out here and I can build my company. I can actually compete. There's something to that. Before Trump actually got into politics and everything became so polarized, I did read his book a long time ago, The Art of the Deal. And I encourage anybody who really wants to kind of see the whole picture, go watch an unbiased documentary on Donald Trump. And what you'll find is a guy who, again, probably has a mental illness. He's narcissist. They're very narcissist, but he's always had balls. When he was 28, 30 years old, he was out doing $300-400 million deals. Now, a lot of money did come from his father. He got a lot of influence from his father. His father helped him out a lot in a lot of situations, but there were a lot of things that he did, on his own. I see a lot of kids that have hundreds of millions of dollars, parents worth, $500 million, who don't accomplish anything, right? Who just sit back and they drive Lamborghinis and they sit around with a bunch of money. Trump was actually out making moves. And there was a type of confidence that was actually interesting in the sense that, I saw him overcome situations where most of the black men that I know would have folded. They would have gave up. They would have said, oh, well, racism stopped me, or they don't like me, so that's why I gave up. That's why I quit. And one of the things that I think we got to be cautious about is that liberal ideology, that Democratic Party thinking, what it does is it gives you, it takes an able-bodied young black man and feminizes the shit out of him at an early age and weakens him and gives him a crutch when he's a baby. And when you are given a crutch in a wheelchair when you're a baby, you never take the time to learn how to walk. So rather than learning about all the great things that we could do if we're in a dog-eat-dog type situation, me and Andre Hatchett, we do this a lot in Black Men United. We're talking about black men competing and fighting and getting out here, starting companies, and who gives a shit if they like you or not? Let's go out here and let's make this happen. You don't get that much for black men, except for on the football field or the basketball court. The football field or the basketball court is the only space in which black men are positioned to be competitive and to fight like hell, even if the other side is cheating. But I've seen guys who I have identified as athletes, and they'll get on the court and they'll fight like hell, but then they get out in the real world and they shrivel up like little bitches. They shrivel up. The confidence just ain't there. They're scared to death. Because they're thinking about, oh, well, they're racist. They don't like me. They don't want me here. Who cares if they want you? You will never be in a competitive situation where your opposition wants you around. They don't want you around. They don't want you competing. They don't like you. They're not going to tell you that you're pretty. They're going to try to kill you, right? And I think that as black men, we don't get to see that much. And I think for Kanye, it almost seems like he's feeling something from his masculinity that's saying, I'm listening to the Democrats, and the Democrats are telling me that because I'm black, I can't do nothing. Because of racism, I can't do anything on my own. Because they don't like me, I can't ever accomplish anything. Because I'm a little black boy from the hood, I can't ever really do anything that will allow me to compete on the same level as a Donald Trump. And so what you get here, for example, that's a little different in terms of how I talk. This is why I piss people off. I piss off the liberals. Is I don't really like Donald Trump. He doesn't like me, but he doesn't care that I don't like him. I don't care that he doesn't like me. All I care about, the only thing I care about, is rather than working for his approval, which I could care nothing about, what I care about is making sure that your children are prepared to compete with Donald Trump's kids. When his kids are 40 and your baby is 40, is your child going to be able to stand head to head, toe to toe, have some wealth, have some power, have some knowledge, some understanding, own an institution and fight back, or at least maintain their independence? Or are they going to have to show up like the Democrats tell you with their hand out begging for some fucking affirmative action and shit. Sir, can I, if you have no penny, a hay penny will do. If you have no hay penny, then God bless you. You remember that? Remember that song? like literally looking like Tiny Tim and shit. Got black men looking like Tiny Tim. You ever see that guy that played for the Kansas City Chiefs, the wide receiver? And he was dying for a white man to hire him with the Chiefs, to hire him to catch a football, and they wouldn't put him on the team. So this big, strong, buck-ass black man looking like a big Mandingo warrior, big muscles, was standing outside the stadium with a sign up saying, "We'll run routes for food." Will run routes for food. A wide receiver, big, strong black man, 6'4", 220 pounds, probably 10% body fat, was standing outside this white man's stadium with a sign saying, "We'll run routes for food," looking like a goddamn beggar. What the hell is that? And you know what would have happened? The liberals would have been like, that's right. You protest. You protest, Tyrone. The racism's wrong. They're doing you wrong. It's hard for a black man. If the white people aren't nicer to you, then you can't ever accomplish anything, right? Who wants that? Who wants to live in a world like that? I know I don't. You ain't never gonna see me out there sitting outside some white man's business begging him to give me an opportunity. You will never see that. What the hell, man? And that's the problem. That's the issue with the liberals. Liberals don't have a pathway to true black empowerment. They have no pathway to true black empowerment. Liberals, Democrats, the far left, they're deeply connected, unfortunately, to a lot of socialism and communism. Socialism and communism is typically built around the idea that business owners are inherently evil, that industry and anything that even looks a little bit like capitalism is just a bad thing. So when I go and I talk to people in the deep liberal establishment in the far left about, black people being empowered by starting businesses and us developing our own institutions, they don't like that. They're like, no, we need government programs. I'm like, why the fuck am I going to wait for a government program from a bunch of white people who don't even like me? Do you know how racist this government is? Do you know I literally will be a skeleton sitting around waiting for white people to decide to help me out? To hell with that. Is that your only solution? Is government programs? Are you serious? Let me keep going. Oh, another great point Kanye made. Let me give Kanye props on this point. He talked about bringing manufacturing back to the Midwest. He talked about, something that I hope that they really do this. I don't know if they're ever going to do this or not. Again, politicians lied. Trump has said he's going to try to do it. I don't know if he is or not. But, he brought up the fact that a lot of black folks in Chicago don't have jobs because people like Clinton signed NAFTA, which sent millions of jobs to Mexico. So what happened as a result of Clinton signing the NAFTA bill and sending millions of jobs to Mexico is that the Midwest got gutted. You ever been to the parts of like Milwaukee or what the hell is it? Milwaukee, Gary, Indiana, and other cities that used to be booming. Detroit used to be booming when there were manufacturing jobs. Those jobs are gone. They are gone. So Kanye is making a good point when he brings that up. He talks about Chirac became Chirac because while think about this, Clinton solved what he probably saw as a slave problem. Lincoln had the same problem. The problem was we got all these damn free black people. They ain't got no skills. We don't want them in the workforce because we don't want them competing with us. What the hell do we do with them? So what they did was they took the 13th Amendment. They had this little loophole that said you can be made a slave if you get convicted of a crime. So they started convicting them all of crimes so they can make them slaves again. Well, in 1996, when Clinton signs NAFTA and the whole Midwest is gutted, all the jobs are in Mexico, you got the same problem, the slave problem. You got all these black people out here, no skill because the education system sucks, the public schools suck. We don't want them competing for the jobs and because there aren't that many jobs available. So how do we put them to work? Well, we put them to work in the penitentiaries. We put them to work in the prisons because they can go to prison and they will do a job that we used to have to pay them $30, $40 an hour for, but now we can pay them $1, $2, $5 a day, right? And guess what? Corporations get rich off of this, right? That's kind of the whole plan. In fact, there were politicians that even told companies like Nike, like they said, look, stop sending all your stuff overseas to be manufactured. You can manufacture it cheaper here in the United States because we got all these prison inmates that will work for $1 a day. See, so you got to kind of see the whole game and how it's played. Kanye ain't totally crazy. I'm not trying to say Kanye is like a great guy and that he's perfect. He's not. Kanye's complex. He's a little weird. And he's definitely trying to get attention. He's trying to get attention for his album. We know all of that, right? This is all, a lot of this is promotional. His antics are designed to be naturally outrageous, but at the same time, it's not totally ignorant. So let me keep going. Let me play more of this.
So it's more important than any specific deal, anything that we bring jobs into America and that we provide a transition with mental health and the American education curriculum that Jim has worked on. Larry Hoover also has a curriculum that he's worked on. We have Montessori curriculum.
Now, did you pay attention? He just gave props to Jim Brown and Larry Hoover. Kanye has not lost all of his blackness. Larry Hoover, one of the most notorious gangsters out here, he's giving props to Larry Hoover. Now, and why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because the Democrats care more about maintaining the whole public school system and the whole government-based system than they actually care about elevating and educating Black people. So when you talk about alternatives that are, educational alternatives like Montessori schools or other curricula that are going to make sure kids are properly educated, what they do is they go back, and this is where, unfortunately, if Sean King and others are not careful, they can get sucked into this crap. They get back to this whole conversation saying, well, no, what we need to do is support the public schools. Well, you can try to support the public schools all day, but if I'm a parent and I'm sending my child to the shitty public school down the street and my baby's not learning how to read, I don't want my child in a crappy school. I don't care about your whole conversation about the privatization of schools. The privatization of schools is not inherently evil. It's only that whole liberal, socialist, communist influence that leads you to somehow try to argue that anything that's privatized must be bad. That is simply just not true. Black people got locked into the communism thing because that was kind of the foundation of the people that were giving us support back when we needed them during the civil rights movement. That's what that's all about. So when they were accusing Dr. King of being a communist, that wasn't totally off base. And now, again, the problem, though, is that there's nothing wrong with being a communist. It's not a crime. It's not a bad thing. But the thing is that you have to be open to ideologies that work for you. You have to take the time to figure out, okay, what am I going to be? I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I am. So I'll give you an example. When I was in Chicago, I got a call from these people who said, oh, we're holding a protest on police brutality. And I said, okay, great. I'd love to participate. And they said, yeah, we know Cornel West told us to call you. And I said, yeah, I love Cornel West. Whatever Cornel West needs, he has my support. So I go and I show up to this rally from these people who were friends of Cornel West, right? Because they used his name to get my attention. What I did not realize was that at this, in this gathering, I was being recruited to the Communist Party. And I was sort of like, look, I'm sorry. I appreciate what y'all doing. Good luck to you. But I told the Democrats to kiss my ass. I told the Republicans to kiss my ass. And I'm going to tell the communists to kiss my ass. I'm Black first. That's what I am. So if you're doing something that connects to what I believe in, then I'll support you. But I'm not getting behind this whole other bunch of ideas that have nothing to do with the reason that I'm here. I'm here because I believe that the police brutality issue is wrong, and Cornel West is a friend, and I support him. But I'm not here to become all of this and to become your political animal, to become somebody that you can ride, as like a jockey, to the finish line. I'm not that guy. I'm here to represent Black people first, period. So ultimately, I think that we have to be cautious because Black people are often used by many people in various political establishments as tools and puppets to achieve their own agenda, which is not your agenda. It's not the agenda of people who are overcoming the effects of slavery. So Sean King, T.I., whoever, if you are telling me Kanye is a coon for sitting down with Trump, then just be careful because somebody could call you a coon if you're sitting down with the Democrats. So just keep that in mind. I'm not calling them coons because I respect both of these guys, but I'm just saying look, you're throwing rocks and you're living in kind of a glass house. So let's.
That we worked on. WeWorks has a beautiful curriculum. The Waldorf establishment has a curriculum. We have meditation. There's a lot of things affecting our mental health that makes us do crazy things, that puts us back into that trap door called the 13th Amendment. I did say abolish with the hat on, because why would you keep something around that's a trap door? If you build in a floor, the Constitution is the base of our industry, right? Of our country, of our company. Would you build a trap door that if you mess up and you accidentally something happens, you fall and you end up next to the Unabomber? You got to remove all that trap door out of the relationship. The four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment, and I think the way the universe works, it's perfect. We don't have 13 floors, do we? So the four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment didn't look like the people they were amending. Also, at that point, it was illegal for blacks to read, or African Americans to read. And so that meant if you actually read the amendment, you get locked up and turned to a slave. Again, so what I think is, we don't need sentences, we need pardons. We need to talk to people. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was connected with a neuropsychologist that works with the athletes in the NBA and the NFL. And he looked at my brain. It's equal on 3 parts. I'm going to go ahead, drop some bombs for you. 98 percentile IQ test. I had a 75 percentile of all human beings, but it was counting 8 numbers backwards after it was repeating. So I'm going to work on that one. The other one's 98%. Tesla, Freud. He said that I actually wasn't bipolar. I had sleep deprivation, which could cause dementia 10 to 20 years from now, where I wouldn't even remember my son's name. So all this power that I got, and I'm taking my son to the Sox game and all that, I wouldn't be able to remember his name from a misdiagnosis. And what we need is, we can empower the pharmaceuticals and make more money. That's one thing. I've never stepped into a situation where I didn't make people more money. So we can empower pharmaceuticals, we can empower our industries, we can empower our factories, we can bring not only Adidas on shore, we could bring Foxconn to set up a factory in, I think, Minnesota, 53,000.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin. They have 4,000 jobs, people making $53,000 a year. And one of the things we got to set is Ford to have the highest design, the dopest cars, the most amazing. I don't really say dope. I don't say negative words and try to flip them. We just say positive, lovely, divine, universal words. So the flyest, freshest, most amazing car. And what we want to start with is, I brought a gift with me right here.
We're getting rid of Air Force One. Can we get rid of Air Force One?
Flyest planes, the best factories.
Okay. Kanye's talking about redesigning Air Force One and all this other stuff. So yeah, that's the crazy Kanye. He's kind of going off on a lot of weird tangents that don't make a lot of sense to me. So he probably didn't take his medication that day. He's an interesting guy. But let me pluck out the parts that I think we need to talk about as Black people. First thing I think that we need to do is understand that we don't benefit when we all support the same candidates in the same party in lockstep all the time. We just don't benefit that way. Only way we can do that is the only way we can benefit by supporting the same person is if we're willing to jump back and forth into different parties. So, as Dr. Anderson said, deciding that we have a Black political party and that we're going to vote as a block, and then forcing them to earn our vote by saying, look, we are open to all ideas. We are open to all possibilities. You need to impress us. That's how we get power. Think about it like basketball. If I come down the basketball court and you know that every single time I come down the court, I'm going to go to the right and take a 3-point shot, then you can easily defend me. You can easily stop me, right? The only way I can actually make it hard for you to defend me is if I come down the court and you don't know what I'm going to do. Like Kevin Durant, for example, one of the greatest scorers in the NBA, he's very hard to guard because Kevin Durant might go right and take a 3-pointer. He might go left and take a 3-pointer. He might take it to the basket. He might scoot in a little further and do a pull-up jump shot. He might pass the ball, right? He has a lot of different options. See, so the key to freedom, if you were to define the word freedom in one word, it comes down to options. So in your own life, not just with Kanye and politics and all, but in your own life, If you ever want to figure out, am I free or am I not free? You need to look at every sector of your life and say, do I have options? If you have options, then you are free. If you have no options, then you're not free. So when it comes to supporting Democrats versus Republicans, we're not free because we somehow are in the space where we believe we're in a space where we believe that we all have to be Democrats. So if you go out and you're black and you say, I want to be a Republican this time because I like their platform, or I want to be independent this time, and black people are saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You a sellout. Well, those are not people that want you to be free. Those are not free black people. Free black people are people who say, look, I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do in this particular situation, and next time I might do something different, depending on how your ass act. If your ass don't act right, then I might do some shit you ain't even planned on. Right? It's all about having. Actually, political theorists refer to this as credible threats. You must have a credible threat in order to have influence in a negotiation. So, for example, if you talk about, you ever seen a situation where maybe there's a guy who's with a woman, and the woman, he's disrespecting her and he doesn't appreciate her and he talks shit about her, and she's the greatest woman in the world, but he doesn't know it, and so he just completely disrespects her, right? And she comes to him, she's like, I'm a great woman. Look at all the stuff I do for you. I do so much more for you than your ex. Ain't no woman out here gonna do the stuff I do. You need to be nice to me, right? And she's saying all this, but he ain't listening. It's going in one ear and out the other, right? Well, why is that? Well, because he might be thinking, look, she gonna come in here and bitch and scream and moan, but she ain't really gonna leave. She ain't going nowhere, right? She ain't going nowhere. Right. So she can even threaten to leave. And if he don't believe her, then he's going to be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Just shut up, sit down. I'm going to go watch TV. Right. Now, imagine if one day he comes home from work and her shit is packed and she's gone. And he's in the house like, where you at? And he calls her cell like, baby, where you at? You were supposed to be here at 5 o'clock. And she's like, no, I packed my stuff. I'm at my mom's house. I'm gone. I'm out of here. And then she says, and I also put down a deposit on a new apartment, and so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get it. You told me that I wasn't good enough or whatever. So rather than trying to prove it to you and argue with you, I'm just gonna go ahead and just leave. How's that gonna affect his behavior? He's not gonna do the same thing he'd been doing if he really loves that woman. If he really wants to earn that woman, and he knows that now she's gone, and now, in fact, she's dating the guy she used to know in college, or she's going to go meet him for lunch. Oh, he'll be at her door with roses in a minute. He'll be, baby, please. He'll be doing a whole Keith Sweat video on her front porch, telling her how much he loves her and how much he's so sorry and all this other stuff, right? He's going to change his behavior because she's presented him with a credible threat. So, ladies, just listen. If you want that guy to pay attention to you, show him you got options and that you're not scared to use them. Show him you got options, you're not scared to use them. You got a gun and you ain't scared to squeeze the trigger. Because if a person knows that you scared to squeeze the trigger, they're never going to take you seriously. They're going to be like, yeah, you got the gun, but you're too scared to shoot. So at the end of the day, I think that we need to tell the Democratic Party, we got the gun and we ain't scared to squeeze this trigger. We got options, we ain't scared to use them. So if you want to know why I tend to lean in favor of saying, go ahead, Kanye, be you, your crazy ass. Just be you. The reason I say that is because Kanye might be the freest black man in this country right now. He might be the freest black man in America because everybody else is scared to simply be who they are. They're scared to tell the truth. The celebrities were scared to tell Obama, like, that, man, what you doing ain't really helping nobody. Ain't no black people benefiting. We put all this weight behind you and you ain't even, you act like we don't even matter. They were scared of him. And when Russell Simmons and I did that letter, we wrote a letter to Obama to ask the administration to shift their incarceration policy. Valerie Jarrett, Obama's little sidekick, his little mini-me, went at Russell really hard. Me, they didn't really mess with me too much because they knew I was off the ranch. I'm just too smart to fall for your bullshit. I don't fall for your Jedi mind tricks and shit. I don't care about sitting at a table with the president, none of that. So they didn't really mess with me, but they messed with Russell because Russell was part of that celebrity insider space. He's in entertainment. And I give Russell credit for the fact that Russell stood strong. Russell said to Valerie Jarrett, look, I like you. I love Obama. I want to be friends, but there are black people dying in prison right now, and we have to address that. And he stuck to his guns, and for the rest of my life, I will give that man credit for the fact that he stood strong when they tried to put the heat on him. And in that letter that we sent to the president, a lot of people signed that letter, including Kanye West. Kanye, all the little Kardashians. I don't know these people. Russell knew these people. The civil rights leaders signed it. A lot of people signed it. And you know what happened was when they saw that kind of solidarity coming forth in favor of Black people, and they knew that it was uncompromising, they changed their tune. Eric Holder made the most significant anti-incarceration announcement in the history in the last 25 years. The presidents or the executive branch had not made an announcement on incarceration that was that significant since the 1970s. And that was because they saw us come together. They saw that we weren't budging. They saw that a lot of celebrities as well as activists were working together on this. And this is, I give Russell credit for that. I got a lot of people's signatures, but Russell knew all the rappers and stuff. He got everybody from Rick Ross to Lil Wayne and people like that to sign the letter. And that's what made them move. That's what made them move. So what I'm trying to say is that, and this was a learning experience for me. I got a chance to kind of see, that basically when it comes to politics, even with your friends, if they don't think you have any power, they will not respect you. So the Democrats don't respect Black people because they think you have no power and they don't think you're willing to even use the power that you actually have. So that's it. That's my take on Kanye. I wish T.I. and Sean King wouldn't be so quick. In fact, let me go ahead. I'm gonna read what Sean King said. Actually, as I do this, make sure you hit the share button, subscribe button, and the like button and all that stuff. Also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. That book is kind of a good summary of kind of how I think about all this stuff. It's kind of almost like a manifesto or something. I don't know. It's been downloaded about 100,000 times. So hopefully some of you are reading it with your kids. So go to drboycewatkins.net and you can get the book totally for free. It doesn't cost you anything. So feel free to download that. All right. So Sean King says, after saying that the MAGA hat gives me superpowers, then saying he was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder, Kanye said he loves Trump so much and rushed to give him a hug. Now, let me tell you what's happening with that first statement. And this is something I think Sean King needs to be careful about. What you're kind of doing is you're doing what liberal and Democratic bullies kind of do. What they try to do, because they're caping for the Democrats, they're trying to keep these oppressors in office, they will go and discredit somebody who disagrees with them by saying things about the person that will taint your point of view before you even hear what they have to say. Now, I told y'all that we all know Kanye crazy. We know that dude's, kind of off his rocker. But I said at the same time, I said, let's analyze what he said point by point so we can toss out the crazy and keep the good stuff, right? Keep the stuff that might actually make sense, right? Sean King's not doing it. Sean King literally, first thing he jumps to is Kanye's comment about giving me superpowers. Yeah, that sounded a little bit weird, but why is that the focal point? The man talked for 10 minutes. Why are you focusing on one thing that he said? And then the bipolar disorder. So what he's basically saying is, this is a crazy ass dude who has a mental illness, right? So don't listen to anything that he has to say at this point. That's what they do. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. That's what liberals are very good at. They're very good at attacking and discrediting and undermining before you take a second to even hear another point of view. They're literally like the cops. They're like, nothing to see here. Like when they shoot a Black man, don't worry, folks, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. I'm like, no, wait. Let me see what's going on. Like, what did he say? Tell me what he said. Let me make my own decision. They're not doing that. That's what a pimp does. So that's what a pimp does. That's how pimps handle their hoes, right? like, look, bitch, just get back in the car, get back on the corner, go make me some money. I'm gonna go handle this, right? So literally, by him pointing out the two parts of Kanye's 10-minute speech that basically make him look like a lunatic, that happens all the time. We're trying to think. I remember when Cornel West had a very long and very broad critique of the Obama administration, a very, very elegant critique. Sometimes he said stuff that he probably misspoke. He said some stuff that I wouldn't have said, but a lot of what he said made sense. In order to avoid dealing with the issue, because they didn't want to deal with the issue because they couldn't, they didn't have a response. They only pointed to one thing. They said, oh, this nigga mad because his mama didn't get tickets to the inauguration. That's literally what they pointed to. That's literally, so I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, wait. Oh, this very intelligent man has gone out of his way to give a very eloquent analysis of a very important issue, a detailed analysis. and all you remember is the fact that he wanted tickets for his mama to the inauguration, and you literally make that the foundation of everything you say. So what they're basically doing is they're saying he's crazy, don't listen to him, because it's much easier for me to discredit you than it is for me to debate you. You understand? So they don't want to debate. They don't want to, because they know that they're pimping you. They know it. Like the pimp knows, the pimp knows that he's controlling the hoes, and he don't want his hoes thinking too much, right? So the Democrats, they discredit immediately. Another example of a quick discredit. There was I heard somebody came to me with like some really interesting stuff. Y'all remember that black woman who ran up on the White House and she allegedly drove into the fence and they had to shoot her and kill her? Well, somebody came to me with a whole elaborate kind of backstory to this that I was not aware of. Now, I'm not going to talk about it because I need to research a little bit more, but I remember being intrigued and it sounded almost credible. They said a lot of stuff that you didn't actually see in the media. And I remember that, when it happened though, and her family was pissed. Their family was pissed that basically they labeled her as a crazy woman who just drove into the White House fence, when apparently there was a whole lot more there than what the media was letting on. So a lot of times, even the people that claim to be your friends will only tell you part of the story. They deliberately restrict critical information from black people because they do not want you thinking outside the box. That's why when one rapper that went on to onto one of the black radio stations, one of the Radio 1 stations, literally said to me, I think it was a Radio 1 station, it might have been a different one, but he literally said to me, he said, they told me that you cannot even mention Bernie Sanders on the air. Do not even say his name. And I'm like, why would they not want you to say his name? Because they don't want black people to vote for him, because they feel like he's a competitor to Hillary Clinton. Why? Well, because he was a better choice. He was a better option. Right. So anyway, let me keep going. But that's what pimps do. Pimps be pimping. That's their profession. So you can't blame the pimp for acting like a pimp, but you need to ask yourself, why are you being the hoe? Why are you signing up to be the hoe every time when really you know what they're doing to you? So anyway, let me keep going. All right, because I'm not trying to be a hoe. All right, anyway, let's see. So here's what Sean King says. He says, after saying that the MAGA hat gives me superpowers, then saying he was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder, Kanye said he loves Trump so much and rushed to give him a hug. And then now listen to this. This is interesting. This kind of bothers me because I like Sean, right? And I don't even like criticizing him, but I'm just gonna break it down. Like, dude, get out of that liberal box. That does not help you. Like, be a black man. Be a black man. Stand up for black people. Stop being a goddamn fucking like little pet monkey for the Democratic Party. Like, stop it. Like, that does not help you. You are strong enough to be strong on your own without needing to cape for these white liberals who want to send black men to prison and accuse black men of rape when they don't have any evidence. You can't do that. Stop it. So anyway, let me keep going. All right. So anyway, did I mess up?
No.
Okay. She was giving me a funny look, which was making me think that maybe I said something crazy. Sometimes I do that. All right, you got to listen to a black woman. If you're a black man and you're talking like me, and the black woman you love like tells you like like cut it, you got to pay attention. But she wasn't doing that. She was actually saying she could hear what I'm saying. Okay, good. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me read this. So Sean King, he then says this. Now pay attention to this. Listen to this. He says 14,000 immigrant children are currently detained in modern day internment camps. 14,000 immigrant children. Are you an immigrant? How many African-American people do you know that are immigrants that are detained in internment? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's bad. It's very, very bad. There's lots of bad things happening all throughout the world. But don't you think it's kind of interesting that they'll talk about the immigrant kids in the camps, but they don't say shit about all the black kids, the millions of black kids that have been separated from their parents for 20 years because they took their parents away to prison? Like really, like if you were to say something like 14,000 immigrant children plus another 1.4 million African-American children are separated from their parents because their parents were sent to prison by Bill Clinton in the 1990s when he was calling black people super predators, then you got my respect. But when you expect me to feel bad for some immigrant kids being separated from their parents for 2 weeks when they're not even supposed to be in the country, they're violating federal law, but I can't have no sympathy for my own damn people? Something wrong with you. You crazy as Kanye West. Maybe Kanye's not the crazy one. Maybe your ass is the crazy one because you're sitting here ignoring what's happening to millions of people so you can focus on 14,000. 14,000 is a very tiny number compared to 40 million. So I'm not saying you can't focus on the 14,000, but you start with the 40 million and then you work your way down. Excuse me. Maybe on the list of issues that Black people have, we start with our shit at the top and we go down our top 20 or top 30 list. And then when we get down to the bottom, we get to section, section Q, and we talk about shit that we might get to if we ever like have $1 trillion and have plenty of free time to go solve other people's fucking problems. Then we get down to this issue with the illegal immigrants. I'm sorry, but I'm not a Black man. You will never see me as a Black man out here fighting harder for illegal immigrants than they would ever fight for us. You will never see me as a Black man fighting harder for illegal immigrants than I'm going to fight for my own people. You will never have me sitting here saying that it should be okay for somebody from another country to violate federal law and break into the country when I got homies and friends and loved ones who've been locked up, getting raped in prison and shit because they violated federal laws. You can't, no, I'm not doing that. That would make me stupid and it would make me insane. So seriously, call out Kanye for being bipolar if you want to, but you're sounding kind of mentally ill right now, bro. You need to let that shit go. Anyway, let me keep going. Trump called Colin Kaepernick and other NFL athletes sons of bitches. Okay. I don't agree with Trump on that. I think Colin Kaepernick and the other athletes are cool. But so he doesn't agree. He doesn't like what they're doing. Does that mean he hates all Black people? That doesn't prove it. It doesn't prove he hates all Black people. It proves he doesn't like those sons of bitches over there. Like if somebody, what if somebody said to you, what if you think about this? Most of y'all got a white person at your job that you can't stand. How many of you have ever sat around and just talked mad shit about some white person that you hate at work? And you didn't refer to her like by her name, Miss Cindy or Sally or Becky. You said, that old white bitch, she took my lunch, or or that old white man, he ain't shit. He got the promotion and I should have got it, right? How many of you have ever talked mad shit about a white person? That son of a bitch, I can't believe he did that, right? All of us have. I know I have. I've talked, if you have recorded everything I've said about white people or an individual white person that was nasty or derogatory, and then first of all, I would look crazy. I would probably look like the meanest Black person ever, right? Think about this. Imagine if they recorded every horrible thing you've ever said about a white person. Like you would look like they would think you were racist, right? Because most of y'all really are. Most of us, we kind of are. But we got good reason, right? Look at this shit they did, right? But what if they said, well, we recorded you calling a white man at work a son of a bitch? That means you must hate all white people. Or what about the neighbor that you have who is cool, one of the good ones, one of the good white folks, who treat you well, brings you cookies and shit for your birthday, and they invite you over to the birthday party, and or when their kids have birthday parties, they want you to come to the cookout and watch the Super Bowl with them. And what if that person's like, because I go through this a lot. I go through this sometimes with white people. They'll hear what I say about racism and white folks, and they'll think I hate all white people. And I have to go through like, no, Tom, I don't. You're cool. You're okay with me, Tom. Just don't fuck with me. You don't fuck with me. They be fucking with me, man. That's why I don't like that son of a bitch over there. But you, Tom, you all right. You my man, right? Like, why can't we have that discernment when it comes to how we evaluate the opinions of other people? Now, I don't know how Donald Trump feels about Black people. I don't know how he feels about all people. All I'm saying is that I have a hard time understanding the leap in logic that says that because you have a disagreement with one Black person, or you don't agree with them, or you call him a son of a bitch, or you say, I hate that motherfucker, that must mean you hate all Black people. That's just not true. Because again, all of you in here, every one of you has probably said something terrible about a particular white person, and you would probably be hurt and angry and offended if somebody said that, oh, that means you hate all white people. Or I'm not going to let my kids come play with your kids because I heard you say something about white people, and that means that you must hate my kids too, right? That would be, you would be upset about that. You'd say, no, that's not true. That's not true. I'm talking about him. I'm not talking about all of y'all. I'm talking about him. I'm talking about the system, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, so again, just that liberal retard speak. That's what it is. It's like very basic, like logic. It's like 1 + 1 = 137. Like that's kind of the liberal logic. Like that's why I'm not down. I can't be a liberal. I'm not trying to be a Democrat. Okay.
Democratic Party is not liberal.
The Democratic Party is not liberal. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. All right. So let me listen. So here's his other justifications for why he thinks that Trump, Kanye shouldn't sit down with Trump. 14,000 immigrant children are currently being detained. That has nothing to do with anti-African American racism. That just means that he doesn't believe that they should be trying to break into the country with their family. That's up to you to have whatever opinion you want on that, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. Trump called Colin Kaepernick and the other NFL athletes sons of bitches. I just explained to you how I can look at a white man and call him a son of a bitch. That does not mean I hate all white people. So just same way I can do that, a white man can do the same thing. He can look at a black man and say, that son of a bitch, but I don't assume that means he hates all black people. Trump called, let me see what else. Work to ban all Muslims from entering the country. Again, unfortunate. It's not, I don't agree with that policy, right? We know a lot of Muslims who are very good people, but I don't see that as having much to do with African Americans. Most African Americans I know are Christians, and then the ones who are Muslim live in the United States. Now, again, doesn't mean you don't fight that policy. I'm not trying to say that you should agree with the policy or that that's an okay policy. I'm just trying to understand how this means that he hates every single black person in the country. I just don't see that. Let's see what else. Accused of sexual misconduct by 15 women. An accusation is not the same as proof, but somehow the Democrats think that it is, and that's a big issue. That's why it's very dangerous for men to put Democrats in office, to be honest with you, because they're going along with this Me Too shit. Accusations are not the same as proof. If you show me proof. Now, again, I do believe Donald Trump has probably done some shit that he shouldn't have done. I do believe that. I believe Bill Cosby has probably done some shit that he shouldn't have done. But what I'm saying to you is that there's still something called the rule of law. There's still something called civil procedure and a person's just basic inalienable legal rights, right? The rights they're supposed to have. And the rights you're supposed to have is that if somebody wants to send your ass to prison, they got to have some proof. Now, the thing about the whole Kavanaugh hearing that was so stupid to me, that was so insane to me, that really made me think, man, the Me Too movement is trying to shoot itself in the foot, is when you had these feminists who, again, they didn't like Kavanaugh for political reasons. It wasn't about so much the assault. It was like, we're going to use this accusation to take down somebody who might overturn Roe versus Wade. That's what the Kavanaugh thing was all about. And it's fine. I understand. If you're, again, politics is dirty, right? So use your dirty tricks, but I'm going to call it out. I'm going to break it down so you can kind of see it for what it is. So here's the part that I thought was just so hilarious. This shows you the Democrat logic, like 1 + 1 = 137. I saw a woman who cornered a senator, Jeff Flake, in an elevator, and she's yelling and she's crying and she's screaming and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, how can you not believe her? How can you not believe her? And he's like listening. He's trying not to look bad because he's trying to act like he's sensitive and everything, right? I don't think these politicians are sensitive. They're sensitive to corporations, not people, but whatever. So he's listening to the lady. And she should be listened to, right? She's like, and I'm a sexual assault survivor, and what I went through was real, and I don't know why you don't believe her. Now, again, maybe I seem insensitive, maybe I'm just an asshole right now, but I was like, so if your assault really happened and there's proof, then that means he's supposed to believe her too. But y'all don't know each other. Like, y'all didn't both have to go through the same assault, did you? Like how does him believing that you're telling the truth means that he has to believe that she's telling the truth? How is it that, you see what I mean? That's like somebody saying like I went to the store and I paid for my food, and that means that person you're accusing of stealing food, he paid too. If you believe that I paid and you saw me pay, then that means he must have paid too. So why do you believe me and not believe him? Like why is it that because I believe and I see evidence that you actually went through a real assault, that this means that I must believe everybody's accusation, when we know that there's been documented proof on multiple occasions of people lying about assaults for specific benefits, coming back trying to get money, trying to get revenge, trying to cover up for some dumb shit that they did on a drunken Friday night, right? It's happened for the last several hundred years. So this idea that women are the only ones, that men are the only ones who know how to lie is absolutely insane. This idea that women just, for some reason, their brains are just so feeble and weak and uncomplicated that they can't construct a lie, that they can't possibly, that every woman on earth must be telling the truth, is absolutely stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. And what it's doing is you're alienating the Democrats. Have to be careful because they're alienating men from their party. They're telling men, you are a sexual predator unless you can somehow prove otherwise. And even if you can prove otherwise, we're still going to assume that you're a predator if somebody accuses you of being a predator. Any accusation is the same as proof. That's insane. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, so then you get to the point where he mentions that he called African nations shithole countries. Okay, now that's not cool. Like he shouldn't have said that. That's a problem. I'm not even going to defend that. I'm not because I'm not here to defend Donald Trump. But what I'm here to just basically say is that, you know, this idea that Kanye is a sellout because he's sitting and he's meeting with the president. Maybe he is. Maybe he's doing this for reasons that are less than noble. But I felt the exact same way when I saw all those celebrities sitting next to Obama and not getting anything done. I saw Al Sharpton meet with Obama. I don't know how many times. Like I literally want to Google this. How many times did Al Sharpton visit the White House under Obama? Look at that. Google did an auto complete because so many people have asked this fucking question. How many times did he visit it? As per White House log files, which are available here, during that period of time, Sharpton has entered the White House 57 times. So this motherfucker, excuse my French, I'm gonna stop calling him a motherfucker. I don't want to be mean. This dude went in to the White House 57 times and got nothing done for Black people. Like literally, he had 57 photo ops. Like that's it. That's it. And y'all mad because Kanye went in there into Trump's office and actually tried to get something done. Again, at least he's trying to do something. At least he's saying our name. At least he's bringing up issues that matter to the community. He's bringing up incarceration. Think about this. Kanye could have done it in Obama's office. Obama wouldn't have even let him come in. Obama called Kanye an idiot. That's why they didn't like each other. Remember when Obama, when Kanye took the award out of Taylor Swift's hands? And Obama, I guess, caping for this white woman, like feeling bad because this Black man had humiliated a white woman on stage and listening to her white woman tears, like literally was like talking to somebody and called him an idiot for what he did. Maybe he was an idiot, but it's so funny how he literally showed more energy defending this white woman than he would ever show even defending the entire African American community. All right, y'all remember that? So he called him an idiot or a jackass or whatever the hell it was that he said. So so my thing is like, this whole rant that Kanye did, again, half crazy, half something else, right? Kanye's a nut. We know he's not a normal person. There's no question about that. But sometimes, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Sometimes even a nut says something that actually makes sense. And the thing is that this rant that Trump allowed Kanye to have, where he's bringing up the 13th Amendment, which needs to be fixed. He's bringing up the loss of manufacturing jobs in Black communities. He's bringing up the problem with fatherless homes and why jobs are the key to that. He's bringing up the idea of alternative educational sources so Black kids can actually get education. He's bringing these things up. He even brought the MAGA hat and he took the word great, again. He took the word again out of the Make America Great Again. He just made it into Make America Great. And he said, I want the again taken out because the word again is offensive to Black people. He said, we don't want to say again because that makes us remember back in the days when Black people were in Jim Crow, when Black people were enslaved. So he did not forget about Black people when he sat down with this man. Jim Brown has done more for the Black community than 99% of the activists who were sitting next to Obama. So why did Obama not have Jim Brown come to the White House? Why did Obama not bring Jim Brown to the White House as much as he brought Al Sharpton? The reason he brought Al Sharpton to the White House is because he knew Al Sharpton was a porch monkey. Al Sharpton was going to be his puppet. Al Sharpton was going to do what he told him to do. Jim Brown was going to actually come in and represent the communities from which he came. So these guys, I'm not saying that what they're doing is going to work. I don't really see Trump as a person that has a lot of integrity. He's like a lot of other politicians. So I hope that whatever they think they're getting out of him, I hope they actually get it. But this rant that Kanye made about Black people and the 13th Amendment and fatherless homes and all the things that communities need, that's not something that ever would have happened when Obama was in the White House. Obama would not have even let those two Black men into his office unless they agreed to just do a photo op and shut the fuck up. That's the problem. So anyway, I didn't mean to call Al Sharpton a porch monkey. I'm sorry. I said he was being his porch boy. That's not the same as being a porch. That's, I don't want to be mean. I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying to get better. It's part of my process. Anyway, all right. So make sure you guys hit the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button. Also, if you want to be a member of the Dr. Boyce TV channel, you can actually subscribe at drboycetv.com, drboycetv.com. Also, if you want to be a patron and a member and join our private sessions and stuff like that, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Our goal is not to do things the way everybody else does it. Our goal is to do things different. Our goal is to tell the stories that other people aren't saying. If there are 100 people in the room, I don't want to say the same thing as the other 99 unless what they're saying makes sense. If it's not making any sense, I don't have a problem being that one person who puts it out there to kind of say something different. And that's what we need. We need diversity. We can't have all of us sort of being put on a bandwagon and be, sort of being dragged through the mud like we always have been. Make them earn your vote. If you want to be a Democrat, be a Democrat. I'm not going to dog you for that. If you want to be a Republican, be a Republican. I'm not going to dog you for that. I'm just asking you, number one, put black people first. Number two, whichever direction you go, make sure they give you something for your vote. And number three, build something of your own because neither one of these parties really care about you. And so, last but not least, if you want to follow me via text, you can text the word Boyce to 31996. Also, we have a social media platform called Blag Enough. Somebody please type this stuff in as I say it so other people can have it. So that's 31996. Text my name Boyce to 31996, and I'll connect with you via text. Also, blaggenuff.com, BLAGGENUF, BLAGGENUF. That's our Facebook for Black people. So if you're tired of being kicked out and banned by Facebook and all this other stuff, I get banned from Facebook every 30 days. I think literally going to Facebook jail is like a badge of honor now. Like if you ain't been to Facebook jail at least once, that means you ain't really saying nothing. So if you are a person who doesn't want to end up in Facebook jail, in Blag Enough, we don't put you in jail. So go to blaggenuff.com, BLAGGENUF. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. It was fun. And let's see, 5150. I don't know what 5150 means, but thank you if it's a compliment. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day. I'm headed to China, so I'll check in with you guys once I get to Beijing. So I'll see you soon. Have a good day.